we have communication with the Metropolitan Police Department. The police is, I think it was Friday, last Thursday or Friday, we had a meeting with them about the route. They did have some concerns about crossing New York Avenue because in terms of traffic. And they said that if they had the manpower, they would have a problem, but if they didn't have the manpower, then they would modify the route. We agreed we didn't have a problem with modifying the route if we didn't have the manpower because we don't want any problems either. That's the presentation. Everybody's want to come, you're welcome to come. That's the bottom line. You got a question?
Are there any questions about the permit application? Any questions from the public?
I have a question.
Yes.
How many people do you anticipate being a part of the parade? So it could maybe be a rolling stop, cross New York and then they can let traffic go by. How many people do you anticipate participating in this?
Well, we've listed a maximum of 100. We said it would be a maximum of 120 people actually participating.
Mr. Rogers, I believe this is in your single member district?
And the parade lasts about 1 hour.
It may take about an hour to go through.
And you go through, and y'all come back into the parking lot area, and the festival will begin after that too, last year.
That's the same, that's right. Same. As soon as the paraders come from, they come straight into the parking lot, and the stage with the musicians and everything's already set up waiting for them to come back, and it starts immediately as soon as they come in.
So y'all want to go a block over beyond New York Avenue now.
We just want to go one block over.
Commissioner, did you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to support.
Second.
Friendly amendment that we communicate that support to the Metropolitan Police Department. Do you accept the friendly
That's
amendment?
it.
Okay. Any further discussion on the part of the commission? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Correspondence off.
Hope to see you there.
So let's go back up to the agenda items that we passed on because representatives were not present at the time. Rito Loco, 606 T Street Northwest. Okay, so we have heard from a representative. Chaplin's, 1501 9th Street Northwest. Still no representative. This is a public space application to convert an unenclosed cafe to an enclosed cafe. And the Historic Preservation staff has already denied the application through the checklist that is provided for agencies to provide their comments because this is a proposal for a temporary structure that would not have permanent materials, and those are not allowed in a historic district. So they will have to apply for historic preservation review of a permanent structure. So at this point, our appropriate action is to not support the application and to encourage the applicant to file for historic preservation review so that it can be considered. This is in my single member district. I'm certainly supportive of the permanent enclosure that I was assured that one of the owners of the restaurant wanted to construct. This was as part of an agreement to resolve a protest of the renewal of their ABC license. Obviously supportive of the ultimate goal, but not of an application that does not meet the statutory requirements. So I'm going to move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E oppose the application for 1501 9th Street Northwest for the conversion of an unenclosed cafe to an enclosed cafe for specific reason of non-compliance with historic preservation, and that we communicate that recommendation to the Public Space Committee of the District Department of Transportation, and I would ask for a second.
Second.
Discussion. Any comments from the community?
Alex?
Yes, in the back.
How does this opposition on the part of the ANC reflect on the meeting we had in December as far as the noise control, et cetera? Does it have an impact on that?
So what Mr. Valentine is asking is that the ABC board imposed a new restriction on this particular applicant that seating in the area between the alley and the P Street entrance to the building is restricted to 11 o'clock on weekdays, midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, until such time as that area can be enclosed with a permanent enclosure that would contain sound and not be disruptive to the residents, especially those at 801 P Street, the senior building. So there would be no impact on those restrictions because they have to abide by those conditions of the license. And until such time as a permanent structure is built, there would be no change to their ability to serve past the hours indicated.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Is the representative present with Tropical Smoothie Cafe? Hearing no representative. This is a request for support for a new unenclosed cafe at 425 I Street Northwest. This was brought to the committee. Commissioner Brown, if you'd report out the recommendation from the committee on this one.
We are in support of the enclosure.
All right.
Voted unanimously, 3-0.
All right. This is in Commissioner Marriott's single-member district. Did you want to make a motion?
I want to see, can we delay a little bit? I just asked somebody if they can get in contact to see if they might be able to make it here in just a little bit.
Okay, we can go on to our other business and come back and see if.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah.
And we also do have another matter that we're hoping that a representative will be able to, so why don't we move on to approval of minutes of the April 4th, 2017 meeting. I know that there was some clarification that was needed on items 9 and 10. Has that been resolved?
Good to go?
Okay.
All right.
So I would welcome a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Treasurer's report, Mr. Marriott.
We might have to kick that to the next meeting unless, I don't have the statement for April.
Okay. Do we have any of the previous ones that?
We do, we do.
Okay.
At the close of March, at the end of March in our account, we had available $50,024.95.
So that's as of,
That's as of March 31st.
okay. Is there a motion to approve the March treasurer's report? You can make it if you choose.
Well, considering I'm the author, I'll leave it to somebody else.
Okay.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report, or accept the treasurer's report for March 2017. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Any other past treasurer's reports that you wanted to review, or are we up to date on those?
We're as up to date as we can be.
Okay. Approval of expenses.
Yes, we have some expenses we need to approve. We have two for our website, GoDaddy.com. One for $101.39, and another for $20.62. I move that we approve these expenses, which were purchased by Lily Robbins, Commissioner Robbins.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And actually, you should
Oh, I
recuse
should.
yourself.
I
because
recuse
you're
myself.
Being compensated. So motion carries, so that's 601 is the vote on that.
We have another expense for Commissioner Roberts for the camera bag for our the camera we use to videotape these proceedings. I move that we approve the expense for Commissioner Roberts
In the amount of,
in the amount of $16.99.
is there a second?
Second. Tony.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
I recuse myself.
Okay, so that's, yes,
No.
so the vote on that is 601.
And finally, we have an expense from Commissioner Padro for our post office box for a one-year rental. The expense is in the amount of $356.00. I move that we, and as a commission, approve this expense.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I'll recuse myself. I'm sorry?
601.
Yeah, so that's 601. Thank you very much. Any other expenses? All right. Oh, yes. Do you have an invoice?
Oh, yeah, of course. We have an invoice expense of $125 for the meeting minutes for this April meeting to Karen Jayla. I move that we approve the expense.
Is there a
Do you
second?
mean for the May meeting?
No. Oh, wait, yes, May, excuse me.
Okay.
May, yeah, not April. I move that we approve the expense for the minutes of the May meeting.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Wiggins. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. That conclude the expenses.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have the second quarter report to review?
Yes. I thought we just moved to approve that. Oh, no, we just
No, we
moved
just
the
did
treasurer.
expenses.
I sent this electronically. I have a few copies here. If you guys want to share them. As you'll see, there is a $25.50 discrepancy. That $25 discrepancy was solved in the last quarter. However, it hasn't been, updated yet on the auditor's website. So there still is a 50-cent discrepancy, of which still hasn't been resolved.
We do have Gottlieb Simon, Executive Director of the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions here. The Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions has taken over the responsibility for receiving the quarterly reports from the Office of the District of Columbia Auditor, and so I will ask Mr. Simon to help us figure out how to resolve this very modest discrepancy so that we don't continue to have that on the books. So I don't know if you have a proposed solution at this point, but.
Thank you, Commissioner Padron. As a matter of fact, I was indeed sitting here, because now I have access to all that information, noticing that small discrepancy, as you mentioned, and looking to see where that might have happened. We'll simply need to double check with the advantage of looking at the bank statements and double checking the expenditures. I thought maybe it might have something to do with last year's security fund payment, so we'll see if that's it or not.
The $25 discrepancy, because the discrepancy is $25.50, and last year's security fund issue is the further $25, but I don't know about the 50 cents.
Right,
Yeah.
right. 50 cents new.
Yeah.
But given the fact that I've assembled a team of vicious barnyard dogs, we're gonna growl and chew on this till we get it for
50
you.
cents. Excellent.
We appreciate your help in advance.
Thank you.
Any questions about the second quarter report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the report.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who seconded? Commissioner Brown? It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you very much. Since we do have Mr. Simon present, I'd like to take a moment to raise the issue that there was a problem last year with ANC 6E's completion of the paperwork for the bonding process, and as a result, ANC 6E was not bonded, and we recently have been advised by the DC Auditor's Office before this transfer took place that a number, or all of FY16's expenditures were disallowed as a result of the fact that the bonding was not in place. So I would just ask Mr. Simon if there's any appropriate action that the commission should be taking in regards to that determination.
No, I was not aware of that issue before possibly a few minutes ago. Concerns me that you only became aware that that was an issue apparently subsequently. But I haven't been advised about it. I'd be happy to talk to you about how we're going to deal with that. Because it would seem to me that there would be at this point a joint responsibility.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your cooperation with us. We'll make sure that you get copies of that correspondence that we did receive in the past week about that. And certainly, if it had been brought to our attention collectively that we hadn't dotted the i's and crossed the t's, then we certainly would have taken action, and we would not
For sure.
find ourselves in this situation. So, and we look forward to your office making sure that if anything like that happens again, that we get a red alert. So
Right, well, I do see that you have submitted the paperwork for this year, so that's very good. But you're telling me that you received no communications last year that you're aware of course,
Correct.
it might have gone to somebody who's not part of the commission, noting the fact that the ANC hadn't turned that paperwork in yet.
Thank you very much. So, we're back to the two items that we deferred on. Do we have a representative from Viva Loco present? Great. You can come forward, please. So this is a request for a substantial change to allow alcoholic beverage sales in a 49-seat rooftop summer garden with entertainment. So, please make your request of the commission.
I guess as we had spoken before, formally, the rest of you all, what we had discussed was a 49-seat focus on restaurant, but we will have, we want to create an environment, and music will be a part of that. We don't want to be a nightclub or any of the crazy places that are a couple blocks away on U Street. And we have done a lot of work in our construction methods. I've used sound engineers to construct our walls. It is only the front is open to the street. The other rest of the three walls are 8 foot tall, board on board, with 2.5 inches of black styrofoam insulation with more plywood and then a covering. So it's pretty private there. And what Alex and I talked about was keeping the entertainment to a reasonable, respectful level, And I said that, we obviously want to fit in the neighborhood, we don't want it to be sore on the neighborhood. And, we're gonna have we will have a decimal meter at some point and see, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. You guys are welcome to come out and be the judges, and, we will color within the lines.
We'll allow the appropriate Columbia government agencies to be the judges.
Okay.
But Commissioner Brown, I believe there's a settlement agreement that has been negotiated?
Yes, we, excuse me, Mr. H. We've been in contact with Rio Loco, and they've agreed to have a security plan in place. There will be no microphones, but the music that's being provided will be a DJ. Their hours are Sunday through Thursday, up in, from Honey Open.
We'll probably open, in the beginning, we'll probably open at 5.
Yeah,
Close at midnight. But I mean,
But the application says 10 a.m.
yeah,
Okay.
as we get into it, it will be 10.
Okay, okay.
But
And weekends.
Yeah, and weekends, that'll be 10 to 1:30.
So that, in addition to, they will be having a special one-time, one-day affair on Cinco de Mayo.
We actually got bad news, DCRA's, we got hung up there on Friday, so
Okay.
that won't be happening.
Okay, okay. I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Okay. But we put basically everything in place to make it a success.
Right.
So, Rita Loco has agreed to our terms, and we look forward to seeing the signed settlement agreement.
All right, and there were a couple of other provisions, but we don't need to belabor the point. Would you like to make a motion related to this matter?
I'd like to make a motion that we support the, I'd like to make a motion that we support this and report this to the Board of Apple.
So if I could, make a friendly amendment that we specifically state that we're supporting the application for a substantial change
Okay.
to allow alcoholic beverage service in the rooftop summer garden with entertainment for Rito Loco at 606 T Street Northwest.
Okay.
Contingent on the signing of a settlement agreement. In the event that the settlement agreement is not executed, then ANC 6E would protest the application.
Accept.
And then we communicate that to the alcoholic beverage regulatory district.
Accept.
Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Further discussion on part of the commission? Any questions or comments from the public? There are none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 6-0-1 is the vote. So,
Okay.
thank you very much. I understand the name of the rooftop operation that will focus on ceviche and tropical cocktails is El Techo, which is the roof in Spanish. So we look forward to visiting the roof when you're fully up to speed.
We anticipate a grand opening probably the first week of June, as long as we can clear out of DCRA in the next week. We anticipate, so.
Great.
But who knows? Never know. So,
Fingers crossed.
appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
And then, so now we're back to Tropical Smoothie Cafe, 1221 I Street Northwest. Is there a representative present?
Well, before we get to Tropical Smoothie, this was a matter that we are going to be taking up, the approval of the new grants application.
So that's coming under old business. So
Yeah,
go
so,
ahead.
I think Smoothie will be here in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll just filibuster until then.
All right.
No, but, I sent this out last month and the month before. I made some changes to the application, nothing terribly significant. I included the update of the new limit of $3,000, as well as making it a bit more clear, with Alex's help, that, people that are going to request grants, make it specific, something they already don't have, to align with the statutory requirements for giving out these grants. Does anybody have any questions on some of these changes?
Do you have a copy of that with you?
Yep.
sorry, I was distracted for a moment. Did you make a motion that we approve this?
Oh, no, I was gonna let somebody else do that, because I'm new.
Okay. So is there
I'll make a
motion?
motion that we approve the edited grant application.
And is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Unanimously. Thank you very much. Let's see. In the interest of allowing Tropical Smoothie Cafe the opportunity to have the representative arrive, we're going to move to announcements and take those announcements up before we do a final call for that particular case. So before we go to the public, I did want to note that the Alcoholic Beverage Regulatory Administration has training, community training, that has been scheduled for residents and community organizations to help the public understand the District of Columbia's alcohol laws, the protest process for new applications, renewals, etc., the filing of settlement agreements, and a variety of resources and hearings that ABRA offices. The training is scheduled for May the 18th, 2017, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the agency's offices at the Reed Center at 2014th Street Northwest, Suite 400 South. If anyone is interested, you can RSVP by May the 12th to Community Resource Officer Sarah Fashbaugh. Her email is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, Fashbaugh, F-A-S-H-B-A-U-G-H, at dc.gov, and her direct phone number is 202-397-3971, 202-397-3971. And with that, I know we have a couple of district government agency representatives that would like to make some presentations, including a representative from the Office of the Attorney General. And this is actually one of our colleagues from Advisory Neighborhood Commission 1B. So welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Carlos Green, and I am Community Engagement Coordinator for the Office of Attorney General for the District of Columbia. I'm also a Vice Chair of ANC 1B. First want to just thank ANC 6E for inviting me and having me here to speak to everyone this evening. We're just going out to the community, just telling people about some of the work we're doing. The Attorney General, Carl A. Racine, is the first independent, first elected Attorney General in the District of Columbia. Some of the work we've been doing, we focus, he has jurisdiction almost solely in juvenile crime. We are also working on consumer protection and bringing class action lawsuits to parties that are hurting the interests of the community and the residents in the District of Columbia. Some of our priorities are affordable housing, public safety and juvenile justice. We also have consumer protection and good and honest government. I brought some literature to share with everyone. The first is our 2-year report, some of the work we've done since he's been elected. A one-pager on how the Office of Attorney General can help the residents. It has a breakdown of all our different divisions. We are the Chief Legal Officer for the District of Columbia. Also, an event that we are holding next week in your single member, in your commission, we are hosting an event on human trafficking, which is a very serious issue. It's protect our kids, understanding and preventing human trafficking. It's going to be at Kennedy Recreation Center. We're expecting over 100 people, and we're very excited. We have some of the best subject matter experts coming to speak on this issue, and the Attorney General will be there moderating it So please come out. And the last thing is Campaign Finance and Transparency Accountability Bill. This is something that goes in hand with one of our priorities, which is good, honest government. So with that, I won't take any questions because of the time, but I have business cards, and you can reach me in the back. I'll be in the back. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And I believe we have a representative from the Office of Cable Television. Or maybe they've already departed after they distributed their literature. We do have Naomi Mitchell from Ward 6 Council Member Charles Allen's office here. Ms. Mitchell, do you have any information you'd like to share?
Hello, everyone. I'm trying to remind those of you who this may be your first meeting that once a month, our office, the council member, chief of staff, others on this staff are here in your neighborhood for you to drop in and visit over the Compass Cafe right on 7th between Q and P, 8 a.m. in the morning until 9:30. No agenda, no speeches, just come out and visit after coffee meeting. It's been a busy last month or so in the council with budget oversight hearings. Every city agency that gets financial support from the government still is given a budget by the mayor, and that's submitted to the council. And so the council has committees that oversee every one of those agencies. And so they have all of the agencies come in and they question the budget that's submitted by the mayor as to whether or not they may or should have been given priorities. And at the end, the council comes out with its version of the mayor's budget, and that becomes the budget for FY18. So if any of you are interested in what's going on with any of those agencies' submissions, we did have a budget oversight, budget town hall a couple of weeks ago, but we'll be happy to tell you what you might be interested in finding out. Give us a call. And that's Naomi Mitchell and Mitchell at DC Council. Afterwards, if there's anyone who has any other kind of issues, I think they want to touch base with me on tonight afterwards, I'll be around until the meeting's over.
So, Ms. Mitchell, I actually am going to pass something along to you to share with your colleague, Mr. Jordan. This is actually an email from one of our constituents, actually from a constituent in Commissioner Judd's single-member district that is raising concerns that that had been raised before about the problem with ATVs that are causing a lot of disruption with noise. I know that MPD has been working on that, but I wanted to share that. But she also has a concern about pedestrian vehicular interaction